Hi everyone, just a few lamps to put up. It's a mixed bag actually, so I've got a whole box full there which I will sort through and take out the ones which I think are of interest. Anyhow, getting back to these few bulbs, we start off with a biggie. I say a biggie, I think it's 300 watt. It's made by Osram, that's the English Osram GEC. The etch is very, very faint. I'm pretty sure it's a 300 watter. It's on 240 volts. It's got the GES or Goliath Edison screw cap. Showing a bit of age there because the cap's actually starting to split, but this did happen quite regularly on the older ones. You can see a crack down there. It doesn't cause any problems. These were quite a well made lamp. You look in where the lead wires go through. One side, the one on the left, is fused. There's a fuse wire through there. It's a glass tube but a fuse wire. The other wire just goes straight up through the pinch. You've got a mica disc in there which prevents the circulating air, and that's if you have the lamp that way round, you're not going to overheat the cap. Well, that's the idea. So that's that one. It's a nice single coil, never been used. It's got 7 molybdenum support wires, and that was Osram GEC. The next one I've got on here is also Osram GEC. Virtually the same construction, not quite as large. It doesn't look like it's actually fused. The wire's pretty thin, but I don't think there's a fuse in there. Once again, you've got the disc. It's a smaller lamp. The etch on it is much better. Show it to you. There we are. And this is a 200 watt, 230 volt, 200. A code on it is 25. I know a lot of you do know or have a way of finding out the year of manufacture. I would assume both these were possibly made 50s, 60s, but it's a guess. It'd be interesting to know if anyone does know the code. He's definitely got it on there. That's the second bulb. That's Osram GEC as well. The two bulbs side by side give you an idea of the actual size. The smaller one's got an ES cap or base. What have we got next? We've got a few neons. Now, this neon, I have shown this before, I believe. It's from the Moscow Lamp Works. Now, look at the base. If it shows an M in a circle, it's made by the Moscow Lamp Works. It's 127 volts. These were made in the 110 volt range and the 250 volt range. The only difference being the little resistor, which you can clearly see wired in. It's not even soldered, it's just twisted up. Very poor, I think. The cap is made of this metal, which you can normally know if a lamp's Russian by the state of the base. It's got that metal which oxidises into a grey coat. Anyhow, apart from that, it's not a badly made lamp as far as the electrodes go, but I don't think they use Swedish iron. These do blacken up pretty quickly, so if you've got one of these, just keep it in the collection. Light it up on high days and holidays, as they say, as a demonstration. That's the size of the lamp. It's an ES base made by the Moscow Lamp Works. Now, while we're in Moscow still, another neon, and lo and behold, made by the same company. If it will focus, there is a little M there. There we are. Focused. It's a neon. This one would need a series resistor. I think these lamps are very similar to those three pygmy lamps I showed yesterday. They glow. As far as I know, these are still available on YouTube. Someone must have bought a whole job lot, and they were fairly cheap. It's a small bayonet cap. That's a neon. There's the coding on it, but it's got that M, Moscow Lamp Works. Now, I mentioned yesterday some more neons here. These are very small neons. I mentioned these type of electrodes being the Siemens type, as I've seen it on lamps made by Siemens, both over here, that was the Siemens brothers, and oops, nearly got away that one. Sorry about that. You see this on the German Siemens, which incidentally was the parent company of the German Osram. I don't know if they still are. I don't think they are, but someone will probably know. I know that was the derivation. Now let's have a look what it says on there. There we are. And always know if the Siemens are written that way, with like a loop between the two S's, that it was the English Siemens, and these were in fact made at Woolwich. Woolwich is a suburb of London. This, as far as I know, was a surplus lamps. When I say surplus, government surplus, they needed a resistor to be added. So don't try and plug this into the mains. It needs a limiting resistor. There's what the internals are like, and that is characteristic, as I say, of Siemens neons. The ones in here are mainly that type. Yeah, these are all the English English ones. I'm sorry these are covered in dust. I've got several of these. This was hanging up at one time in the collection. I think I've got several of these. It's another neon. As far as I know, this can be connected. Yes, it can. As I say, it's got 220 volts. Made by Philips. And the mark there of a sine wave, which seems to be what Philips use on their neons. I'm sorry it hasn't come. That's a bit clearer now. So these were mains. I know they use them over here on equipment. I can remember the old valve testers, and they had one of these. It was just an indication that the actual equipment was turned on, and they used one of these or similar to that. It was that style. Anyway, there's nothing. I don't think there is. No, all the other ones are the ones we've seen. We've got the Moscow lamp. Anyhow, moving on. I have to say this with tongue in cheek. Westinghouse. It's about as much Westinghouse as flying in the air. Westinghouse was a very well-known American maker of good quality lamps, but the company was taken over by Philips, and at one time both names existed on the packet, Westinghouse and Philips. Well, obviously when the company or the name was wound up that was used by Philips, because they changed over, so just used the Philips name, someone got in and thought, well, that's a well-known name, let's use that. And you look at the end of the box there, I think it's showing up, I hope it does. There's the company there that became Westinghouse. It's Angelo Brothers. Now, another difference is the Westinghouse lamp was made in America. These lamps were made abroad. They're not a bad lamp, but no way would I call them a Westinghouse. They might have the Westinghouse name, but that's as far as it goes. If I can get this to liven up and sharpen up a bit. I'll tell you what it says. It's obviously got a little W there. And that's a W, not a M. And the name China. So these were made in China. I believe this company make quite a few lamps, or import quite a few lamps. And that's a candle with a candelabra size thread. It's an unusual size for Europe. Don't often see this size thread over here. It's actually, I've kept it still now, so the name might appear a bit better. I'll say the box it was in, 15 watt Westinghouse, even written the same way as it always was, the W. Now, see how they get over the fact that these tungsten filament bulbs were banned, but you could use rough service. So all they do, they put on their commercial service, and that is a little loophole. They're 130 volts, which means they'll last quite a bit longer. Commercial service, which you could say is rough service. No way is this lamp a rough service filament. It is just a dodge to get through the banning of this type of lamp. We've seen the same things in Europe, in England. They get around it by saying an industrial lamp. There's no difference between an industrial lamp and what the lamp used to look like. But there was genuine rough service bulbs, which I've showed in the past. What have we got next? Yeah, so I got some lamps from America. These were sent some years ago. Names I've never heard of. Halco Decorator 2.5 globe. 60 watt clear, once again on 130 volts. There's copyright 2000, going back a few years. Alco lighting, made in China. There's the number. Is there anything else on there? Any more information? Long life. Yeah, it would be long life. These cost originally $2.25. Didn't cost me that. I think I got a job lot through eBay. Amazed they all arrived intact. They're added to the collection. There's the lamp. Typical filament arrangement. No way is it a rough service type filament. Just a normal single coil. Not badly made. The cap is okay as well. I can see the name on there. I look to see I get it in the right place. I think there's a name. Or is there? Oh, here's something there coming up. That might have shown up. I don't know whether I've got it round the right way. I have now. And you see the marvellous words China. I reckon China must turn out millions of lamps, which are supplied all round the world. Next up, we've got a lamp. Should be Japanese. Yeah, made in Japan. It's the Iwasaki Electric Company Limited. They make a lot of these discharge lamps. I might have a couple upstairs, I don't know. I've got so many in the loft as well. It's a wonder the ceiling hasn't fallen in. Now this is it, Iwasaki Electric Company. And it's Japanese. There's what the lamp is. 12 volt, 50 watt. Dichro cool. This means that they give out a cool light. It's cleverly done. I think the heat part is taken through the reflector. Once again, someone else might be able to explain this, but I know it's dichro cool. It's something to do with the reflector. Let's have a look at the bulb. It's a small bayonet cap base. It's like a ceramic gap in there. I suppose that is to keep away the heat. There's the etch. We'll turn it around the right way so you can see it. There's the etch. It's not too clear, but there we are. And inside you've got your lamp, quartz halogen lamp within the dichroic reflector. Well, that was one of the lamps that came with the consignment. Also, whip it out the box. I don't know if this one actually came from America or not. You can't always tell. It's 120 volts. Quartz halogen again. Small bayonet cap. It's 2,000 hours lamp life. I don't know if this is a patent bulb pinch technology. Now pinch simply refers to where the lead-in wires go through. That's called a pinch. And I think they might also refer to this part in the middle where the glass has been pinched up. and it acts as a, looking at it, as a support also for the filament. You can see the filament in there, it's quite a long filament. What does that say? Does that say Germany or... No, sir. No, I thought it said Germany. It doesn't. You'll see in my notes, my eyes are still not 100%. I'm still waiting for the other one, the other eye to be fixed. There we are, it's got on there. It is a German version. Made in Germany, it's Osram GmbH. There's the town, I think, where it's made. Augsburg, famous for lamp manufacture, Augsburg was. Osram. UV filter. And the typical Osram trademark known throughout the world. Incidentally, the English Osram started, I believe, by being owned by the German Osram, but through history it was taken over by the English. There was Robertson's Lampworks and Osram, but in, I think it was the 70s, it was sold back to the German Osram. So all the Osrams you see now are in fact German Osram. And now what have we got next? Let's have a look. Oh yes, I think the one we've got left is this one. I don't want to decide, I don't want to put too many up at a go because, whoops. There's another one from America, I think, with it coming. Now you can see this is made by GE, 15 watt. It's globe, it's white, candelabra base, but look where it's made. Made in Korea. Edison will be turning in his grave. Neela Park, Cleveland. Now that was Edison's place, or one of his laboratories. And you can see, never made in America, Korea. Let's have a look at the bulb. Sorry about a bit of politics. I could go on hours about politics. I'm not going to mention anything about Brexit. I should do. I think it's the worst thing we've ever done. I quite enjoyed going to the continent, travelling to various places on the continent, not worrying too much about a passport. Now it looks like it's going to be like it was years ago, and I remember years ago what it was like going to the continent. It was not easy. You were lining up at country borders. You had to show the passport every time you went across a border. It was horrible, and this is obviously what they want to come back. So as I say, I'm not going to make it a political talk, but I know a lot of younger people very much against the against Brexit. It can affect their futures as well. Anyhow, back to the bulbs. You'll be pleased to hear. Yeah, a candelabra base. Looking at it outside, you'd say it was made in America, but it isn't. You've got a bit of writing on the cap. Put it down there, it might liven it up a bit. Whoops. They're determined to get away from me today. It's so small, the writing, I'm having job to see it. Anyhow, that's the bulb itself. It's a 15 watt, they call it a globe white. Made in Korea. Obviously means Southern Korea. I'm not getting into that. Right, now I won't take this last one out of the box. It's what they call a festoon type lamp. There's what the lamps are like. It's festoon. This is 24 volt, 18 watt. Obviously made for a commercial vehicle. Most cars are 12 volts. So this wouldn't be for a car. It'd be perhaps for a commercial vehicle. Years and years ago, and I'm showing my age again. Some say silly old so and so. But I do remember things. Cars were fitted with what they call trafficators. They were things which come out of the side. If you were turning right, on the right hand side, the trafficator would come out and it would light up as it come out. It was like I don't know how you describe it, but it was like a light which indicated that you were going to go right or left depending which way you switched it. They were called trafficators. Well, they used a festoon lamp. That would have been either 12 volt or 6 volt. The early cars were in fact 6 volt. The early Volkswagens, they were 6 volts. Anyhow, also I didn't know what that symbol means. PB3, lead. PB is plumb bum, where we get the name plumber. He works here on lead, well, it doesn't always work on lead pipes. That's where the name came from, plumber. From plumb bum, which is lead. And that's what it means. There's no lead in the lamps. There's no mercury either. So anyway, that's the last one. Any comments please make. I think I showed something yesterday. I gave the wrong colour code. Sorry about that. It's brown, blue and yellow green. I think I mentioned black thinking it was the old colour code, which it isn't. Sorry about that. It's interesting to note, I was looking at some of the YouTubes yesterday, and it looks like the Americans may be changing over to the international colour codes. I think it's probably due to the fact that a lot of the cables are made in China, and it's probably easier to use a bit of Chinese wire, which would probably show the international coding, and send that over to America. Let's face it, both ends would possibly be terminated. One end with the American plug and the other end with the figure of 8 design, or an international type of plug which is used worldwide. Anyhow, I'm going off subject again. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to pop these up. Then I've got to answer some of the people that have passed comments on here. So once again, thanks for watching. Any comments please make. I'll even talk about Brexit if you like. Well, I've been told I mustn't be too political. As I say, these things happen, and I think we're all entitled to have an opinion. So there we go. Anyhow, thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, please like, please comment. Any comments? Either rude or not, I don't mind. So there we are. Thanks again. Thank you.